Hi there, good to be with you again. My name's Mark Wells and we're going to have another session talking about the FES flower essences. And today our subject matter is flower essences that have a particular association with specific illnesses and physical ailments. And I might qualify that by saying, I'm not saying in this little segment that we just, as soon as we hear our client with a particular diagnosis that we give this remedy, but by all means consider it, because in my over 30 years of practice, the remedies I speak about today I've found commonly are required and the person can benefit from them when they have this particular, or they're presenting with this particular ailment. There's two remedies I want to start off with, Pansy and Self-Heal. And I want to talk about Pansy. Pansy is a remedy that I've been using in practice for many, many years. It is on the research list of the FES. And if I can say, alert you to my own book, the Essential Flower Essence book, it has good coverage of not only all the FES ones in circulation, but a lot of the research ones, as well as all the bark and many of the Australian bush. And I do recommend my book if you want to have a book that covers most of the flower essences that are in circulation around the world today. That would be the book to go to. So in that I talk about Pansy, and one of the things that I find fantastic with that flower essence is the client that comes to see you has been given a medical diagnosis and they almost are resigned to the fact, I can't do anything about it. It's genetic and there it is. I've been given this diagnosis, I've got it, there's nothing much. Now, I find Pansy is great at helping people broaden their perspective so they can say, okay, they can see life in a broader perspective and see that they may well be able to do something here, which is going to help them be more receptive to what you've got to offer. And then the other end of the spectrum, if you like, when people come along to you and they've been diagnosed with something, they've had this particular ailment for a long time, and we as naturopaths and natural therapists get a lot of these people that have had a condition for a long time. They're almost again resigned to the fact they live that way, they almost identify with that disease as part of themselves. And Pansy is a great remedy, again, just to broaden the perspective, allow a person to see that there's possibilities here, that you can perhaps not only live with it, but move ahead and perhaps even get on top of the particular illness. It's not about false hopes, it's just about broadening your perspective. So Pansy, great remedy. And Self-Heal, just for the self-belief. When you know the person wants to get well, they want to do something about whatever problem they've come to see you about, but there's a part of them that doesn't really believe that they can overcome it. So Self-Heal is going to help. It's going to help with patient compliance, just to believe that they can actually do it. So if we get down to some specifics, Nasturtium. Now, Nasturtium is a great remedy when you get someone, it's a great remedy when someone's got a cold or a head cold, but it's a really good one when people come to you and they've had one cold after another. You know, their immune system keeps failing on them. They're usually depleted, energy depleted, vitality's down. There's a lack of color in their life, if you like, which is very Nasturtium. But Nasturtium can help boost their immunity. And you'll often find it can change that pattern of completely coming down with one virus, one head cold after another. Next remedy I look at is Fuchsia. And Fuchsia, of all the remedies that I've given over the years for premenstrual syndrome, I'd say I've used Fuchsia more than any other. In the sense that it's really good for that emotional upheaval and roller coaster that often is associated with premenstrual symptoms. Fuchsia is about hyper emotionality, not reacting at this time and then reacting 10 times as much as you should have for something there. So it's one of those great remedies to help get that balance right. And as I said, it does crop up a lot as part of your approach to help someone with quite strong premenstrual symptoms. Fairy lantern, another one that I would look at from a female perspective. Very good for young girls that are perhaps late onset of their menstruation. It might be going 14, 15 or 16, and even when it does break through, it's very irregular. That's one to consider, fairy lantern. So it's all about maturity, if you like, on a more emotional, psychological level. Fairy lantern can be really useful there. Trumpet vine is another one. Trumpet vine is about blowing your own trumpet, expressing yourself. It's extraordinary. Well, it's not extraordinary, but it's no coincidence how often I've got people that have had a history of tonsillitis or things happening in that area, but particularly tonsillitis and throat complaints. How trumpet vine has been a really good remedy for a lot of those people, and again is a great adjunct to all the therapy you're giving. Morning glory is another one for energy in general, but if someone's trying to give up or cut back on their coffee, their smoking, even their cup of wines at night, morning glory helps you get in touch with your natural energy cycles, so you don't need to have these boosts all the time. And it just helps you break those habitual, patterns that you've got in your life that aren't serving you anymore. It's also very good for hangovers, which I didn't say, and it's also very good for jet lag and that sort of, foggy head feeling. Indian pink's another one that I've over the years found extraordinary how often people are suffering from some inflammatory condition when they're in need or could benefit from Indian pink. Indian pink, particularly on the skin, and as I say, just general inflammatory conditions. And Indian pink is for when someone is generally inflamed, meaning yes, physiologically there's inflammation, but on another level they're a bit inflamed with what's happening in their life, stressed and quite reactive to it. Manzanita is another really good remedy to consider, particularly with any eating disorders. It's about, the fundamental thing is about nurturing yourself, nurturing your own body. So it can be around comfort eating, around not eating, as I said, of any type of eating disorder. Do consider Manzanita. Tansy is another remedy that I've found often associated with throat issues, but particularly hypothyroidism. And often tansy is very good for someone perhaps who is overweight, and a lot of that is because of perhaps overeating, comfort eating. It's almost like suppressing some of the feelings through food. And tansy can help that person be more able to express themselves, and in that they can often help with that particular physiological problem. Rosemary is another great one. I'm a person that's got cold hands at the moment. It's extraordinary how many times I've prescribed rosemary for people and they report back that their hands and feet are warmer. Rosemary is about being here. It's being fully in your body. Rosemary, as we know, is used for studying and as an essential oil and things like that. It stimulates peripheral circulation, but as a flower essence, it can be very helpful too when there is that circulation and those cold hands. Snapdragon is probably the final one we'll look at today, and Snapdragon is a lot to do with expression and articulation of what you want to say, but I reckon I've helped parents save extraordinary amount of money on their dental bills for their kids, because one of the characteristics often of Snapdragon is grinding of teeth. It's almost like you're grinding over at night what you didn't say during the day, and it's sort of going over at night time, and of course that's going to create problems with the teeth, but any particular jaw articulate problems as well that can then flow on to having a dental problem. Of course it's useful for adults as well, but you might save a fair bit of money in your dental bills with that way, with Snapdragon allowing to release any sort of tension in that area. So there you go, and just a reminder that if you need to look up some of these remedies, if you need to look at some of the research entities that particular remedies that I've used and spoken about, by all means have a look at my book. And the other thing is to, even though it is a research essence, Pansy that I spoke of at the start, it's readily available at Oborn's. Thank you, until next time.